Slight improvement in the weather compared to the last video. So finally we will get the yak out today. A pretty coloured one in its red and white livery. Yeah, the Russian Yakolev 18T. Just bear with me. Flaps are all or nothing in this, aren't they? Yeah. Okay then, so yeah, flaps for landing, clean configuration for takeoff. The winds are just light and variable for this one, so that's nothing to worry about. And hopefully there's enough of a gap between the clouds and planet Earth for us to fly in. Yeah, I think we'll be okay. Yeah, it should be fine. Let's go and find out. Military trainer kind of aircraft, and looking at this we might be doing some low-level military style flight training today, which we will need to do as getting into the cloud isn't much of an option this time. There's no nav aids to help us at our destination. And and talking about destination, we're going to NZFL Flat Hills. And there's now a new version of that in my mega folder, because setting up this flight I accidentally put in the code for there, so that's where we spawned instead of here. But luckily I did, because in my sim at least there was both the custom airfield and the default one displaying at the same time, so I had to do a quick edit to kill the default one. That edited thing I've done is now in my mega folder. Nothing else has changed, but yeah, that's it. Anyway, that's Highway 3 going over there, and this is Highway 1 down below us. Seems to have been about a 5-kilometre patch where Highway 1 disappeared entirely and became Highway 3, but then 3 splits off and heads towards Whanganui, and Highway 1 comes back again and heads more north, and with a long straight bit here. That seems like a good excuse to go and annoy some traffic. Sounds like fun. You give a few drivers a little story to tell when they get home, and I wonder what kind of size of fine and possibly prison sentence there would be if somebody ever did that in real life, just for the fun of it. But yeah, got that out of my system now, so we'll settle back in and actually follow Highway 1. Weather does seem to be better than it looked when we were on the ground. Don't think cloud and visibility is going to be much of an issue after all, which is quite nice. Okay, little quiz question then, which probably a lot of you know, but following this land feature on the ground, the highway in this case, although it could be a river, set of power lines or whatever, why am I flying just to the right of it? Now, I'll give you a minute to think and we'll come back to that, because if you didn't know that there was an actual reason why you would fly to the right of a ground feature that you're following in real life, there is some logic to it, and you might be able to work it out if you have a quick think. So, tour guiding then, and over to our left is the town of Marton, where, having a quick glance at Google Maps, there appears to be no weird businesses at all. Yeah, no charlatan life coach from Bangladesh, or a shop where you can get a massage while riding a camel, or no, just very ordinary kind of shops and businesses by the look of it. So, Marton, probably the most normal place we've flown past since we started this road trip. Although just outside of Marton is a place called the Taxidermy Shop. And if you have a look at the Google reviews, there's 3 out of the 5 of the reviews are absolutely hammering the guy who owns this place, calling him a liar and a thief, and they're really having a proper go at him. You can see why if you read the stories that the reviewers have written, which are quite amusing really, or well, amusing for me, not for them obviously, but I'm not them, so I don't really care. Okay, Google reviews, science joke. Google review of our local solar system. 1 star. Right then, the right-hand side of the road thing, and in case you didn't know, the captain sits in the left-hand seat in a plane and is assumed to be the one flying it. So, being this side, it's easier to see the road, as opposed to if the road was over on our right-hand side and we had a passenger seat in the way. Then the reason we are off to the side at all, rather than flying directly above the road, if another plane is following the same land feature but coming the other way, if we're both obeying the rule of keeping the ground feature off to our left, then the other guy will be on the other side of the road from my perspective, so we won't run into each other. Yeah, just a little simple safety rule kind of thing, really. Taught that in the UK, and I assume it's standard worldwide, although I've never looked that up to find out, actually. So on with the journey, and there's not a lot else to tell you about, really. Nothing of any great interest that we're going to fly past, so it's a bit boring, really. And then in a few minutes we'll get to an airstrip, which is equally as boring, to be honest. There's a piece of grass which is quite wide, quite long, so it's not even a challenge to land there. And from the satellite pictures, it does seem that the field runway is totally fenced off. There's small gates in the fence, but those are vehicle sized, not aeroplane sized, so there's no taxiing over to a hangar or an apron by the look of it. Oh no, just land in a field and that's it. You're parking in the same field as well. Yeah, never mind, can't all be wonderful, can they? And I think my representation is genuinely what it does look like there, so there we go. Yeah, but as for this Highway 1 road trip series of videos with its geographical location, it was either land at this somewhat dull Flat Hills airstrip, or we would be having an overly long half an hour plus video trying to get to the next airport, so that was the choice. And long videos, they're not really my thing if I can help it, so yeah, we're having a shorter one. So random thought earlier, I'm not really sure where this came from, but I bet it would probably have been quite good fun being a very early explorer and seeing things for the first time ever. So I can just picture the comments of, what the bollocks is that when you see a giraffe wandering out of the trees, if you've never seen a giraffe before. I mean, okay, adapted, evolved very nicely for their environment, but they are definitely weird shaped things, giraffes, aren't they? And just thinking now to add to that, did Noah have to build like a sunroof kind of hatch in the Ark so they could fit the giraffes next to so they could stand up properly? I suppose so, as Noah must have been pretty good at zookeeping, with looking after 2 of every single animal so that they could repopulate the world again. I mean, okay, forget the bit about the 2 unicorns, where he later found out that they were named Brian and Dennis. That was just a clerical mistake during boarding So you can't have a go at him too much for that one. Other than that bit, he did okay. And then the next tangent in my head is forget the big mammals and things. There's a lot of small stuff, various mosquitoes and flies, that they don't live very long, so they'd have to birth a few new generations while they were on board. And therefore, did those new insects become part of the repopulation of the world when the flood went away, or did Noah have to kill off some of the offspring so there was still only one male and one female, and hope he didn't make the Brian and Dennis the unicorns mistake again? And I wonder what God had to say about that as well. Yeah, for fuck's sake, Noah, not the unicorns. They were some of my best work. The farting pretty rainbows out of one end, you could hang your coat up on the other end, and you rounded up 2 males. I knew I should have done something so massively less convoluted instead of getting you to make a boat, gather 2 of everything, bob around on the water for a while I flood the entire planet. Yeah, I wish I'd have done something much more simple and easy now, like the kind of thing that a god could actually do. And nearly here. That's the runway just ahead of us. To try and make it interesting, just at this bottom left-hand end of the runway there is a car there and a couple of people, and about halfway down on the left you'll see a windsock. Should only be one orange windsock. If you've also got an orange and white windsock, then yeah, you've got 2 airports displaying, and you do need to get this modified version. It's alright. I've been trying to edit stutters out of replays, but this one's just horrific. It's got that many that, yeah. It was an okay kind of landing, wasn't it? Slow down. Try not to take out the fence. Crap. Right, okay, so Flat Hills Airport, so dull that even X-Plane doesn't want to visit here. I'll have to see you again next time then. Yeah, bye.